Namaste everyone, Yogi Parks here. Welcome to my first yoga video on my YouTube channel. So this is going to be a very short practice, all on the ground, on the mat, mostly core exercise. So let's go ahead and begin, all right? We won't waste any time. So let's go ahead and actually, well, let me bring my mat a little bit closer to you guys so you guys can see me. Hold on. All right, here we go. So the first pose we're going to go into is child's pose. So for this first child's pose, we're going to make it super gentle. And this is going to be a very gentle practice. So we're actually going to, for this child's pose, we're going to keep the knees together. So you're going to bring the knees together, the feet together, tops of the feet planted on the mat, and you're going to go ahead and let your tailbone go back towards your heels, and let your forehead, you'll let your forehead relax down on the ground. If you don't have that available to you, you can go ahead and let your hands support your forehead. So you can stack one hand on top of the other, and then place your forehead down on top of your hands. And here we are in child's pose. Let's take just a few breaths here. It's a good pose to take as we start our practice. It's a very grounding pose, relaxing pose. So we'll just take it for a moment. Make sure your shoulders are back away from your ears. Let the body be completely still. Start to be aware of the body being completely still as you breathe. Since this is an easy pose, go ahead, close the eyes, and let's internalize the pose. Any opportunity we can to internalize the pose, we will. So just a few more breaths. Very good. And then let's slowly come out of child's pose, lift the forehead either off the mat or off your hands, and let's make our way into a tabletop position, all right? So for our tabletop position, we'll start with the feet will be hip width apart. The tops of the feet are planted onto the mat. You want your knees hip width apart, and you want to have your hips stacked right on top of your knees. I know I look a little dorky with my shirt tucked into my pants, but bear with me so you guys can see my whole entire body. So as you can see, I have my legs at a 90-degree angle, and you want to go ahead. Next thing is to engage the belly. Draw your belly button up into your spine. And then next, you want to have your hands directly underneath your shoulders. So hands are underneath the shoulders. This is called bone-to-bone stacked alignment. Again, bone-to-bone stacked alignment. Knees, knees underneath the hips. You have bone-to-bone. And then you have your hands underneath your shoulders. Bone-to-bone stacked alignment. And everything is at a 90-degree angle. Look down. If you have any hypertension in your arms, which hypertension would look like this if you're I'm not hypermobile, but if your elbows are going a little bit more inward, you want to take a nice, and I'll just demo this really quickly. If you have a little hypermobility in your elbows, which is again a little hyperextension in the insides of your elbows, you want to take a little bit of a micro bend in the elbows. Okay, a slight micro bend in the elbows. And the other thing is look down at your hands quickly, and you want to make sure the creases of your wrists are in a parallel line together. just so you have really good alignment. Keep all 10 fingers spread, fingertips pressing into the ground. And let's go ahead and let's take some lateral stretches. Give me just a moment to get back into it. All right, and let's do some leg lifts really quickly. So we're going to start with an inhale. Take the right leg back. Good. So we're just doing a simple leg lift. And so the right leg is back, my right foot is flexed, toes facing the ground. I have my kneecap drawn up into my thigh, and my whole leg is engaged. The one thing you want to watch out for is make sure the hips are squared off. You don't want to have one hip higher than the other. You want to have the hips squared off, and that leg shooting straight back. So we're still in the tabletop position with the leg back. Belly button engaged, core engaged, and the hands are pressing into the mat. Let's go ahead, exhale, release. And here we go. Inhale, take the left leg back. Toes facing the ground, kneecap drawn up into the thigh, hips are squared off, core is engaged, hands pressing into the mat, body engaged, breath is flowing. And here we go, exhale, release. And let's do one more on each side. Inhale, take the right leg back. Exhale, release. Inhale, left leg back. Left leg kicking back, hands pushing into the mat. And let's go ahead. Exhale, release. Let's come into child's pose again just for a moment. We can take the knees a little bit wider apart. Bring your toes to touch. And let's go ahead on an exhale. Let the tailbone come back onto the heels. We'll actually stretch the arms out for this child's pose and let the forehead relax down onto the mat. If it doesn't relax down onto the mat, that's okay. You can keep the head lifted. Or, yes, keep the head lifted. Or if you have, again, if you really want to, bring the hands on top, bring the hands to the mat, let your forehead rest there. Or if you either have a yoga block or a book, you're more than welcome to place that on the mat as well. But let's go ahead. The focus of this is an active child's pose anyway. So I want you to really stretch while still keeping the shoulders away from the ears. Really stretch the hands forward. And use your hands to push your weight back, sending your tailbone back towards your heels, getting a nice flat back. Taking a few breaths here. And then let's go ahead on an inhale. Let's come back up to a tabletop position, okay? And double check in. Make sure the feet are hip width apart. Knees are hip width apart. Hands are underneath the shoulders. And here we go. Let's actually do a little bit of cat-cow. So this is a good core exercise. So make sure you have your belly button drawn up into the spine. And here we go. Cat-cow looks like this. On an inhale, you're going to arch. On the inhale, you're going to arch the back. Let the center point of your chest shine through your shoulders and look up, stretching your throat forward. And then exhale, cow. You're going to round out your spine, lifting the back of the heart towards the ceiling. Tuck your chin into your chest. Tuck the tailbone under and lift up. Almost like you're going to fly off your mat at this point with the back of the heart shooting up to the sky. And then inhale. Let's slowly arch the back, coming back into cat pose. Look up. And exhale, come into cow. Let's do just 4 slow rounds of that. Inhale. Slowly arch the back. Exhale, release, cow pose, round out. Inhale. 2 more. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Last cow pose. inhale, let's come back into a tabletop position. And let's come to sit back on our heels for a moment. Let's shake out our hands. It's actually a lot on our hands, a lot on our wrists. Let's do this real quick. We'll just roll the wrist to the right. Make sure you still have your breath going here. Go ahead, switch it up. Roll your hands, roll your wrist to the left. And then let's go ahead, let's bring our hands back, almost like you're going to tell someone, stop! Flex your hands. And then let's go ahead. You can actually do this as well. You can use your left hand to bring your right fingertips back, getting a nice stretch. Let's go ahead and switch it up. Use your right hand, your right fingers, to just stretch your left fingers back. And then let's go ahead, do a little stretch. Good. Let's just hold our wrists here. Nice. All right. So let's do a gentle camel pose really quickly. Just to, again, keep our core firing up. So to come into camel pose, on an inhale, let's come to stand up on our knees. Make sure, again, feet are hip width apart. Knees are hip width apart. And for this gentle camel pose, we're just going to bring our hands to our lower back. So you'll bring your hands to your lower back, and already you want to have the legs engaged, have the belly button drawn up into the spine, core is engaged. Bring your hands to your lower back. The shoulders are going to be down away from the ears, bringing the shoulders back, and just slightly bring your hips forward. So legs engaged, core engaged, in camel pose. Make sure you're breathing, sip the breath. Nice, even inhale, exhale. Let's just stay here for a moment. Body engaged, breath flowing. Lock your eyes at one fixed point. One thing you'll start to hear me talk about a lot of these YouTube channels, this yoga exercises are to focus inward. So we engage the body, engage the breath. We engage with our eyes by focusing our eyes at one fixed point. Let's go ahead, exhale, release, sit back down on the heels. We lock, so again, we engage our body, we engage our breath, we engage our eyes, all to focus inward, right? So you're going to hear me, kind of slowly start to talk about in these videos. Let's do a quick twist. Let's use our right hand. On an inhale, you're going to twist to the left. Place your right hand on your left knee. You have your left hand back behind you. Shoulders down away from the ears. Core engaged, a little bit of a lift in the heart. And you'll use your core as you turn, look over your shoulder. Lock your eyes at one fixed point. Breathe here. And then on an inhale, let's come back to the center. Let's switch it up. We're going to go ahead, engage the core. Start to turn left hand to the right knee. Right hand back behind you. And here we go. Engage your core. Twist as you breathe. Lock your eyes at one fixed point and stay here for a moment. And on an inhale, let's go ahead, let's come back. Let's come back into our tabletop position. We're going to do some spinal balancing. We'll wrap up with spinal balancing for this short, gentle core video. So back into our tabletop position. Again, feet hip width apart, knees are hip width apart, underneath the hips, hands are underneath your shoulders, and hands are shoulder width apart. Let's go ahead. When you're ready, on an inhale, let's take the right leg back behind you. And then for the spinal balance, you'll go ahead and engage your core, belly button to the spine, and inhale, extend that left arm forward. Keeping the left arm, the left shoulder, plugged into the shoulder socket, left shoulder away from the ear. Reach forward, kick, and exhale, let's release. All right, let's switch it up. Inhale, take the left leg back behind you. When you're ready, right arm extends forward. Body engaged, breath flowing, eyes locked at one fixed point. And let's go ahead, exhale, release. When you're ready, let's do one more each side. Inhale, right leg back, left arm off the mat, body engaged, breath flowing, eyes locked. Make sure your hips are squared off. So make sure hips, drop that hip if your hip is raised. And let's go ahead, exhale, release. Last one, here we go. Inhale, left leg back. Right arm comes off the mat. Take a few breaths. And let's go ahead, exhale, release. So let's come into a relaxing child's pose this time. You'll go ahead, take the knees a little bit wider apart, toes touch, and on an exhale, let's send the tailbone back towards the heels. Let the forehead come down onto the mat, and let's just let the arms just relax and take a few breaths here. Let the body become completely still. Come back to a natural breath. Close the eyes. Take just 5 more slow breaths. When you're ready, let's slowly bring your hands towards your knees, to your knees. And when you're ready on an inhale, let's come to sit up on our heels. And we'll come center to the mat. Come into an easy cross-legged position. Indian style seat. We'll bring our hands to our knees. And we'll just take one Om together to finish our practice. Here we go. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. See you next time.